Hello, welcome to Formulas for Teachers. This is Michael Anderson. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can take some form response data. This is a fictitious list of, those aren't real student names, but a fictitious list of student responses. They all took this quiz. A lot of different teachers had their kids take the same quiz. There's a whole other video series that talks about how to just get your data out of this. Especially if you're going to parse out data for all the teachers and you're going to make one for, a sheet for Ramirez, for Anderson, Guangarena, and Bass. These are the four teachers. There's a whole other video series that I would recommend that you watch if that's what you want to do. Now, some teachers like me, I operate a little bit differently by my normal MO, and usually my forms don't have these other teachers, but what I'm going to show you still works either way. So we're going to use this data anyways. I usually work with what I call a master copy. So I essentially have a list by period, alphabetical already, of all of my students. So these are my second, my third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all of my kids. And what I do is I attach this, I open up a sheet, I make this list right here. I basically copy and paste it from my master. And then as the students complete the quiz or the exam, their scores populate here. So it's just as kind of almost in real time. I can see who's done the quiz. I can see what their score is, all those good things. So there's a few different ways that we can accomplish this goal. What many people are probably thinking the best way, because if you look here, the students have their email addresses that were automatically calculated, and I can use VLookup because I could look for, Braylon and then look him up and do that. So I definitely can do that. So we'll try that out. We'll go equals VLookup. And if you're not familiar with VLookup, it's vertical lookup. I look on a vertical list and then I look to the right of the information on that list. So I'm going to say equals VLookup. And what am I going to look for? I'm going to look for this email address. So I'm going to look for what is in B2. Then I do a comma. Then I have to say, where am I going to look? And I'm only going to look over here. I clicked on form responses 1 between B and C. So I'm going to select B and C like that, comma, and then I'm going to ask, how far am I going to look? Now, Google Sheets is a little bit odd. Excel does the same thing, so they're both the same way. This is the first column. This is column 1. So I'm going to look in column 2. So the comma is where am I going to look? And it's in column 2. Column 2 of the range that I selected. So if I had selected A through C, then I'd be looking for something in A, and then I'd be looking 3 over because I wanted to get the score. But I'm looking for B2, so I'm looking for the email address in column B on form responses 1, and I'm going to look in 2 over. So 1 is the column that I'm selecting or I'm looking at, and 2. So that's 2, and then comma false. And then let's hit enter, and then there's the score. And what I can do, of course, I can just copy this down like this, and we'll just go all the way down, and we will get all the scores. There we go. It should populate. There we go. So those are all my scores, and everything works swimmingly. However, I have an issue here. So it looks like there's 2 issues. So I've got this one, which is John's, and for some reason it's over here to the right. And then I have Nella and Garrett have this NA. And the NA is because it didn't find the value. So basically, Garrett and Nella, neither one of them took the quiz. Now, John's a little bit different. He apparently did. He got a 52. But the question is, why is this over here on the right? Why is the score on the right? Well, the reason why is because John took this more than one time. So if I were to change this false to true, then what it's going to do is going to find this 82. So it's a different number. So what is it actually looking at here? Well, false, what false does, I don't know if you look up, is it looks for the very first instance. So the first time that John Cook's email showed up, it looked for the score. Now, true would be the last time. So, oops, there we go. True would be the last time. So now, for the purposes of this, I just had John's, he's the only one that I had do multiple. I just added more lines to show how that would work. But there could be an additional problem, which would make VLookup not necessarily the best thing to use. And the problem is that I know John took it more than one time. I don't know how many times he took it. And is 82 his best score? It's his last score, which presumably would be his best, but very often the last attempt that students do isn't the best attempt. Maybe they're trying to get better than something they did before. Maybe they got middle upper 80s, and then you got an 82. So what grade am I going to put in the grade book? And you'll find, especially like I let my kids do their Google quizzes multiple times. So there's a lot of values, and I want to get the maximum value, not this one here. And there's a way that I could see how many times John has taken this. I'll do another video to show that in a few minutes, but it'll be separate from here. But let's do this. Let's figure out how I figure out what the maximum value is. So 82 was his last time. So I'm going to use something, instead of VLookup, I'm going to use something called max ifs. So that's going to be on a different video. We're going to do that in just a second. So tune into that if you want to find a better way of looking up data, just like a VLookup, but a little bit better. Just tune into the next video, and we're going to use the max ifs formula. So